This is everything that a Marvel movie can and should be. Seriously, I've been waiting around for a few years now for a film as good as this coming from Marvel Studios, because Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is easily my favourite film since Spider-Man No Way Home, and since before that, Avengers Endgame. And I feel like that doesn't sound like it's saying that much, because those films themselves aren't that old if I'm actually thinking about it. But, you know, if we consider the fact about how Marvel is basically a content-making machine, it kind of is a big deal, because we have got a bunch of content from them in the last few years. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is easily the best of the bunch, and it's a film that really makes you feel as well, because if I think about a lot of the Marvel movies that have come out in the past few years, like I've been saying, I feel like I was actually way too easy on them. Like when it comes to movies like Ant-Man 3 and Doctor Strange 2 and stuff like that, yes, they were good and everything. They were fun little nerdy adventures and whatever. But I'm kind of sick of seeing films and just saying, yeah, that was fun and that's passable enough. Because Guardians of the Galaxy 3 proves that films can be fun but can also actually have weight to them and actually make you feel for the characters involved. Seriously, it just kind of blew me away in pretty much every single way. And it's because it just goes so hard in pretty much every way that it could as well. Now, in saying that, if I had to criticize anything, it also went a bit hard in terms of cruelty. In terms of animal cruelty, you might have heard about some of the elements in this film involving animal torture, extended kind of scenes of animal torture, or at least experimenting on animals. It's a huge element to this film as it explores Rocket Raccoon's whole backstory and everything like that. And man, it's quite unpleasant, I gotta say. This movie is mean. It has a mean edge to it. But I think that was kind of needed. I think it was important for Rocket Raccoon's characterization, and I also think it was important to make us hate the villain of this film with a venomous passion, because that is what I did. I fucking hated this guy so damn much. So much so that I actually think he was my favorite Marvel villain since Killmonger from the original Black Panther film. I reckon this character, this villain, and I don't remember the character's name, but I thought he was fantastic, as he wasn't sympathetic in any way, but I could kind of understand what his whole motivation was with wanting to perfect the world in what way that he could. And, I don't know, all scientific breakthroughs and stuff kind of start out with probably horrible experiments and stuff that they cover up that we don't know about. And I don't want to get into conspiracy theory territory or anything like that, but I just found this character to be surprisingly grounded for being so, galactic and evil, or whatever the right word is. But that's the specialty when it comes to Guardians of the Galaxy 3. It shouldn't be a huge surprise that there are big emotions when it comes to this film, whether it be anger at the villain, whether it be the heart of the characters and loving all of the main characters and everything like that. There's a precedent for this. Every single Guardians film is very much like this, but with the kind of shitty track record of Marvel over the past just few years, I just wasn't expecting this film to be as strong as it was, and it kind of surprised the hell out of me just how much I loved it. I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd, which I know I'm not the be all end all. Oh my god, my rating means the movie is anything. It doesn't fucking matter what I think. I know that. But I was just really impressed by it, I guess, and I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did. There's just something about the magic of a Marvel film, and honestly, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 has reminded me of the capability of Marvel. It's kind of been the film, just as of the past few hours anyway, it's kind of reminded me why I did or still do love this franchise to begin with. It's kind of been a while since I've felt that magic. It's kind of been a while since I've really had that faith in Marvel, if that makes any sense. I don't know. I don't think that what they've been churning out has been absolutely atrocious, terrible, indefensible bullshit. I think a Marvel film is always guaranteed to at least be pretty good, but I don't know. I feel like this movie kind of puts the last few years to shame, and I think that is honestly a good thing. And I hope that more movies keep up with this quality, but I kind of am maybe doubting that they will. I kind of think that this was James Gunn's last hurrah in Marvel. That's why the emotional aspect was at such a high, rather than the movie just feeling like it was this advertisement for all of the next films and all that kind of stuff. I think that's what was so good about it and kind of different about it. It really just felt like it was in its own space, and it also felt like it was part of this grand world. And I don't mean being interconnected within the franchise of Marvel. I mean it actually felt like they were in galactic environments and all that kind of stuff. It felt like like this big universe where they could go off to a different planet and all that stuff. It didn't feel necessarily so much so like they were just in a studio, even though they clearly would have been, and it would have been all green screens and all that shit. It kind of felt grander than Marvel has felt in the past few years, even with Spider-Man No Way Home, which I absolutely love, but even that film does feel pretty green screeny and studio-y, if that makes any sense. It all feels like they've been like that for the past few years, and maybe you can explain that away by saying COVID. Maybe that's the explanation for it, and fair enough. I kind of get that, I suppose, but with all the Marvel money that they've got in their hands and capabilities and everything, I just feel like more films should feel like Guardians of the Galaxy 3 did. Also, just by the way, if you're one of those Marvel fans that is just looking forward to all the Easter eggs, and specifically if you're looking forward to the characterization of Adam Warlock, I do have to say he's not in it that much. I didn't have expectations for this character. I don't really know who it is. Sorry. But I liked the character quite a bit though. It was limited screen time, but I liked him. He was like an entertaining character. It wasn't the most epic story. Didn't have much of a character arc or anything, but I liked him, and I guess he's gonna be in future Marvel films and all that stuff. So if you're excited for that, good news, I suppose. There's cool action too. There's some pretty cool action in this movie. Like there's this scene within a hallway that was kind of reminiscent of, I don't know, like martial arts movies and stuff, sort of. Maybe I'm promising too much there, but it didn't feel like it was just fake CGI and cuts everywhere, like you couldn't tell what was going on. It felt like it was this one long take with the camera kind of spanning around with lots of shit going around, all these characters kind of involved and everything. I was really impressed by that scene. It just felt really cool and grounded for a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I thought it was awesome. You know, I'm not necessarily in these movies for the action, but there was some pretty fun stuff in here, though sometimes when the action started taking place, I'm like, all right, here we go for a few minutes. We're going to stop with the story and just, yeah, they're going to punch each other for a bit or whatever. But Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is one of those movies that actually integrates its action into the story so that it didn't actually feel like it was just, who cares? Like, it felt like there were actually stakes here. I was worried for numerous characters' safety here, which isn't something you can normally say for superhero movies in general. But, you know, this being kind of a farewell to the Guardians trilogy or whatever, I was actually legitimately worried for some of the characters, thinking that they could all die at any moment. But I do also have one minor complaint that I do want to mention here. It involves the F word. It involves the F-bomb, the first ever MCU fuck. The use of the word fuck, okay? And just, this is minor spoilers, I suppose. I don't think it's spoilers, but maybe you will, in terms of context of how that fuck was used and how it disappointed me. So if you think that you can spoil how the F word is used in a movie, sure, turn this off or whatever at this point. But I have something very minor to complain about here. But yeah, going in before having actually seen it, and maybe if I didn't read about this, I wouldn't have cared all that much. But going in, I knew that this was the first Marvel movie to say fuck in it. I'm like, how are they going to utilize that? You know, are they going to do it cheaply? Are they just going to do it with a quick joke and whatever, and it's going to be completely throwaway, and it's like, what's even the point then? Or are they going to do it during a pivotal, you know, emotional moment, which this film had one perfect moment where they really could have used it and it would have been so impactful. But of course, no, they just decide to do it in a throwaway fucking joke. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, he's telling somebody to open a door. He says, open the fucking door. That's all he says. That's all it is. And I'm like, really? What a waste. I just felt like that was a waste. It could have been done with emotional impact instead. Anyway, I feel like I've talked about the fucking F word thing for longer than I've actually talked about the movie by now, so I guess I've run out of things to say. But I loved this film. Genuinely, I loved it very much. So that's all. Thank you for watching and all that shit, and I'm outie. Before you go though, please do that things like comment, share, subscribe, all that shit, and goodbye.